This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Monday, November 17th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Marjorie Taylor Greene responds to President Trump calling her a traitor.
His remarks, of course, have been hurtful.
I'm Rich Johnson.
Immigration raids and protests in the Queen City over the weekend.
Targeting American citizens based on their skin color.
I'm Clayton Neville.
The Federal Aviation Administration says it's going to roll back some flight restrictions. Ed Donahue, Washington.
On Wall Street, stocks are coming off a mixed week, and we get earnings from big retailers this week. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
President Trump says he's planning on a meeting with New York City's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. And Donna Warder tells us why your favorite pasta could soon cost double what it is today. All ahead on America in the Morning. The U.S. House of Representatives is planning a vote this week on forcing the Department of Justice to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Last night, President Trump reversed course and called on House Republicans to vote in favor of the files being released. This as Trump and one of his most fervent supporters, Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, appear to be on the outs. Correspondent Rich Johnson reports.
It started with Greene disagreeing with Trump on issues like the Epstein files and urging him to come clean on prices.
Gaslighting the people and trying to tell them that prices have come down is not helping. It's actually infuriating people because people know what they're paying at the grocery store.
That's Greene last week on the Sean Spicer podcast. Then came the social media blasts from Trump over the weekend.
His remarks, of course, have been hurtful.
Trump called Greene wacky and a ranting lunatic and promised to support someone who challenges her in the Republican primary. The unkindest cut, she says, the label Marjorie Traitor Greene.
The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor. And that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
Greene appeared on CNN's State of the Union to not only answer Trump's insults, but to own up to her own past bad behavior.
I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics.
Greene says she started rethinking her own behavior after the killing of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk.
I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another.
Greene says she still supports the Trump agenda, while at the same time insisting that all the Epstein files be made public. That won her support from several Epstein survivors. In a joint letter, they told Greene, quote, "When you speak the truth and refuse to bow to threats, you become a survivor by proxy, an ally who carries part of the fight with us. That courage matters." And one other notable bit of praise from a surprising source. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries wrote on his X feed, "Marjorie Taylor Greene is crushing Donald Trump right now." I'm Richard Johnson.
The governor of North Carolina is encouraging residents to be peaceful and record anything they believe to be suspicious or inappropriate as immigration agents crack down on illegal immigration in the Queen City. The governor saying their actions are not making Charlotte safer. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports there were dozens of arrests Sunday.
Federal immigration raids over the weekend in Charlotte were met with protests. Hundreds of demonstrations protesting over what some called Gestapo tactics by ICE under the Trump administration. This man told WSOC TV that he was pulled over twice on Saturday and let go both times because he is in the country legally.
Give me your status. Give me your papers. Say, why? Open the door. Say, I don't open the door.
Federal authorities say more than 80 people were arrested on Saturday during the operation dubbed Charlotte's Web. The governor of North Carolina, Josh Stein, didn't take issue with the crackdown itself, but instead how it was executed.
To the CBP, if you know that we have violent criminals in Charlotte who are undocumented, we want them out too. Everyone wants to be safe in their communities. But the actions of too many federal agents are doing the exact opposite in Charlotte.
Instead, the governor said,
"We've seen masked, heavily armed agents and paramilitary garb driving unmarked cars, targeting American citizens based on their skin color, racially profiling and picking up random people in parking lots and off of our sidewalks, going after landscapers simply decorating a Christmas tree in someone's front yard, and entering churches and stores to grab people."
DHS officials say that the raids in Charlotte were a response to the refusal of local officials to comply with 1,400 detainer requests to hold suspects for 48 hours beyond the time that they would ordinarily be released. I'm Clayton Neville.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. It's the Sleep Number Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with cozy, soothing comfort. Save on mattress and base bundles, plus free premium delivery. Limited time, only at Sleep Number or sleepnumber.com. Planned meeting with President Trump and New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. Here with America in the Morning. California set to receive more rain this week. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
After 2 rounds moved through California late last week and this past weekend, a break is probably needed, especially in some of the areas where significant rain fell. But another storm is already underway first thing this morning across Northern California, northward along the coast to Oregon and Washington. And this feature will move southward through the rest of the day today into tonight, with widespread showers in the north and steadier rain developing in the central and southern parts of the state. Some areas could have localized flooding again with the heavy rain already having fallen. It will also be cold enough for some snow in the Sierra Nevada. Some areas could get more than a foot of snow by Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, a part of the system that moved through the west this weekend will shift into the Central Plains, and that will develop some rain from eastern Wyoming into western Nebraska, into South Dakota, and then shifting into Iowa this afternoon. Snow will start to mix in with the rain from this system on the northern side of it from southern Minnesota into Wisconsin late today and tonight. Farther south from southern Missouri into Arkansas, northeast Texas, and Louisiana, there will be some thunderstorms developing, some of which could produce gusty winds and small hail, and these storms can continue into tonight. In the northeast, colder air will be moving over the warmer Great Lakes, with flurries and snow squalls continuing for a good part of the day. Snow totals in the area will be as high as a foot in parts of northwest Pennsylvania into western New York. Additional lighter snow will fall in northern New England with a couple of inches possible. That's the weather across America. San Francisco, California will have plenty of clouds today with a couple of showers and a high of 60. Tallahassee, Florida will be warmer with abundant sunshine and a high of 80. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Remember, you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. President Trump says he's planning a meeting with New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. The president told reporters on his return trip back to Washington that he hopes to, quote, work something out with the nation's largest city's soon-to-be mayor. Trump has for months slammed Mamdani, labeling him as a communist and predicting the ruin of his hometown, New York City, if the self-proclaimed Democrat socialist was elected. He's also threatened to deport Mamdani, who was born in Uganda and became a naturalized American citizen, and to pull federal money from the city. In his election night victory speech, Mamdani said he wanted New York to show the country how to defeat the president. But the day after, while speaking about his plans for Trump-proofing New York once he takes office in January, the incoming mayor also said he was willing to work with anyone, including the president, if it can help New Yorkers. Shifting gears, the government shutdown may be over, but there's still some flight delays for the FAA to iron out. A change in flight plans. Correspondent Ed Donahue.
The Federal Aviation Administration says it's going to roll back some flight restrictions. Even though the government shutdown is over, the FAA says the current mandatory 6% flight cuts are being downgraded to 3%. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has repeatedly said restrictions will remain until staffing at air traffic control facilities stabilizes and safety metrics improve. Meantime, at the airport,
honestly, I thought it was going to be worse.
Fajin Noel was flying out of Dallas-Fort Worth.
It's smooth. TSA was okay, so I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
How long it will take for the aviation system to stabilize is unclear. Duffy has said controllers and other FAA employees should receive 70% of their back pay soon, with the rest to come. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Wall Street downtick, recovering losses. Monday business headlines next, when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. The Business Report is sponsored by Gusto. Gusto's a simple online payroll and benefits tool built for small businesses. Learn more at gusto.com/radio. Check of the morning business headlines with CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opening this morning after a mixed week for stocks last week. On Friday, some investors just got right in there and bought the dips from the midweek sell-off.
Fascinating week. The index is being basically flat, which is remarkable considering the gyrations along the way.
That's CNBC's Mike Santoli. Bitcoin on Friday fell below 95,000. Some investors are thinking the Fed's not going to cut interest rates next month as inflation data weren't released in the government shutdown, and alternate data show it might be rising.
Outside of just tariff-induced inflation, it's also inflation related to pockets of labor market shortages that we're seeing in things like in-home elder care, daycare, the child care crisis, where immigrants play an outsized role in that part of the economy. Most people just look at the level of prices, and the bottom line is the level of prices is out of reach given their incomes.
KPMG economist Diane Swank on CNBC. And here's CNBC's Contessa Brewer.
You're looking at in-home elder care going up at its fastest rate on record in September in CPI. We had daycare up at its third fastest pace on record. I mean, those are real costs that people have to pay. And then when they go to Walmart to try to buy groceries, they're thinking, well, which do I pay for?
The September jobs report, however, was ready to go when the government shut down. So it's going to be out this Thursday as the first data starts to trickle out from the government. It's the October jobs report that's likely lost. Retailers are getting ready to lure you in to spend for the holidays, but many are also reporting their quarterly results from the last quarter this week.
It's going to be a pivotal week, and there's a lot of focus on retail. Let's show you what's coming. It starts with Home Depot on Tuesday, but then you get Target, TJX, and Lowe's on Wednesday. Walmart, Ross, Gap, Bath & Body, BJ's finally on Friday.
CNBC's Scott Wapner. Tarani says Forest Pine is the 2026 flavor of the year for your coffee or cocktail. It's a fusion of pine, ginger, and sage. They say consumers are looking for botanical flavors after lavender became so popular. Tarani sells syrups in World Market and online. PepsiCo cutting 500 jobs in Florida at 2 Frito-Lay locations. Food Dive says the closures are because of a slowdown in snack sales. Sharknado 7 in production in the next few weeks, according to Variety. On today's watch list, we get earnings from Aramark. Netflix begins trading this morning at its new 10-for-1 post-split price.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, pasta prices to increase more than a pretty penny after these messages. The Trump administration is pulling out all the stops as Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will meet with President Trump at the White House. The meetings Tuesday will mark Prince bin Salman's first visit to the White House in more than 7 years and comes at a time when the president is hoping to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords and establish diplomatic ties with Israel. Plans include a welcome ceremony involving military bands, a bilateral meeting in the Oval Office, and a black tie dinner in the evening. U.S. and Saudi officials are still working to finalize agreements on defense and security, including new purchases of American-made fighter jets and weapons, a plan that Israel has opposed. Spaghetti fans could soon be paying twice the price for their favorite linguine dish after President Trump threatens 107% tariffs on Italian-made pasta. Details from correspondent Donna Warder.
A U.S. Commerce Department review based on allegations that Italian pasta makers were undercutting U.S. competitors by selling Italian pasta at below-market prices has President Donald Trump threatening to raise tariffs on imported pasta by a total of 107%. In Philadelphia, Sal Ariema's Claudio Specialty Food has been in business for more than 60 years.
Pasta's a pretty small sector to pick on. Pasta, it's a basic food. Something's got to be sacred.
In Italy, Margherita Mastromoro, president of the pasta makers sector of Union Food, says a 107% duty would essentially mean a halt to pasta imports. Still, Ariema thinks some Americans will pay the increased prices for good pasta.
They'll start out at 100 and then settle somewhere else because that's too far-fetched. But I think most people will still pay it. I mean, for Italian pasta, especially really good Italian pasta, people will pay.
I'm Donna Warder.
America in the Morning for Monday, November 17th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
President Trump says he sort of has his mind made up on Venezuela. I'm Clayton Neville.
In Oakland, California, Laney College football coach John Bean has died. I'm Ed Donahue.
A quiet neighborhood turned into a crime scene in Newark, New Jersey, leaving 2 dead. I'm Sue Aller.
4 officers in Kansas are recovering after being shot during a domestic violence call. I'm Donna Warder.
Massimo wins against Apple on their lawsuit. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
Kim Kardashian gets real about keeping up with the bar exam. I'm Kevin Carr.
The latest on Russia and Ukraine, plus Robert Workman with a Monday morning sports recap. We're back after these messages. America in the Morning continues. The period for Atlantic hurricanes are waning. The season ends the last day of this month. Here's today's forecast with AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
A part of a storm system that moved through the west this weekend will shift into the central plains with some rain from eastern Wyoming into western Nebraska, as well as South Dakota, and then shifting into Iowa this afternoon. And on the northern fringes of this storm, snow will start to mix in with the rain from southern Minnesota into Wisconsin late today and tonight. Farther south from southern Missouri into Arkansas, northeast Texas, and Louisiana, there'll be a few thunderstorms developing, and some of these could produce gusty winds and small hail, and these storms can continue to develop into tonight. Looking west, we had 2 rounds of rain move through California late last week into this weekend, and another storm is already underway first thing this morning across northern California, northward and along the coast into Oregon and Washington. And this feature will move southward through the rest of today into tonight with widespread showers in the north and a steadier rain in the central and southern parts of California. And some areas could have localized flooding, especially given the recent heavy rain. It will also be cold enough for some snow in the Sierra Nevada, and some areas could get more than a foot of snow by Tuesday morning. In the northeast, colder air will still be moving over the warmer Great Lakes with flurries and snow squalls continuing for a good part of the day. Snow totals around the area could be as high as a foot in parts of northwest Pennsylvania. Additional lighter snow will fall in northern New England with a couple of inches possible. The rest of the northeast into the middle Atlantic and southeast will be largely dry with sunshine, chilly in the north with highs in the 30s and 40s, and then warm nicely to around 80 degrees in northern Florida. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. President Trump says he knows what the administration's next steps surrounding Venezuela will be, but he's not ready to make the plan public yet. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports this amid a heightened U.S. military presence in the region.
The The Trump administration has not shied away from claims that Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, has direct ties to drug cartels that move product from Latin America into the United States. Over the last 2 months, the Trump administration has carried out a campaign targeting alleged drug-running boats in the Caribbean and in the eastern Pacific Ocean, which have killed about 80 people. The most recent attack was on Saturday, reportedly killing 3. Over the weekend, Maduro was seen singing on stage in front of a crowd encouraging peace. He was singing John Lennon's Imagine.
Imagine us people.
President Trump was asked over the weekend if he knows what the U.S. plans to do next.
I haven't made up my mind yet. But I can't tell you what it would be, but I said I made up my mind.
He said he sort of made up his mind, but can't say what his decision is. Meanwhile, lawmakers on Capitol Hill questioning the military presence in the Caribbean.
Are we supposed to believe that this is only about striking speedboats? Because if it walks like a military buildup and talks like a military buildup, it might just very well be a military buildup.
Democratic Senator Adam Schiff recently outlined to Congress the military assets sent to the region to include the USS Gerald R. Ford, the largest carrier in the U.S. fleet.
This means we will see upwards of an additional 24 Super Hornets and 24 additional F-35s. This warship will be accompanied by 3 additional destroyers, bringing at least 10 of America's best naval warships within striking distance of Caracas.
Sunday on CBS's Face the Nation, Army Secretary Dan Driscoll was pressed on potential orders for any further attacks in the Caribbean or on Venezuelan territory.
We don't talk about those kinds of things, but we would be ready if asked.
I'm Clayton Neville.
It took just under 4 years for the Soviet Union to fight its way over 1,100 miles from Moscow to Berlin and join the U.S. and Allied forces to end World War II. It's been over 3.5 years since Russian forces crossed the border and invaded Ukraine, and so far they haven't come close to making the 400-mile journey to Kyiv. The latest on the war between the Kremlin and Ukraine from correspondent Karen Shamas.
President Alexander Stubb of Finland told the Associated Press that a ceasefire in Ukraine is unlikely before spring. Speaking to the AP in Halvala, Finland, Stubb said,
I'm not very optimistic about achieving a ceasefire or the beginning of peace negotiations, at least this year. I mean, perhaps if we get something going by February, March, that would be good.
He urged European allies to maintain support for Ukraine despite a corruption scandal in Kyiv. Stubb said Europe needs to think more Finnish and show sisu, a Finnish term for resilience, as Russia continues its hybrid attacks in Europe. Stubb has a good relationship with President Donald Trump, which he uses to advocate for Ukraine.
In World War II, Stalin was in Berlin in 4 years. We're almost 4 years into the war. And Russia is nowhere near Kyiv, and they're not going to get there.
Ukraine's president has said Kyiv is working to resume prisoner exchanges with Russia that could bring home 1,200 Ukrainian prisoners. President Volodymyr Zelensky said that many meetings and negotiations are taking place to ensure this. Rustem Umerov, Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council Secretary, said that he held consultations mediated by Turkey and the United Arab Emirates. The parties agreed to activate prisoner exchange agreements brokered in Istanbul. Meanwhile, Russian drone strikes damaged energy infrastructure in Ukraine's Odessa region overnight into Sunday. Ukraine's Air Force said that Ukrainian forces shot down or neutralized 139 drones. I'm Karen Shamas.
Police in Oakland, California are trying to piece together why someone would shoot and kill a beloved football coach and a father figure to thousands of young people who was featured in a Netflix show. Details from correspondent Ed Donahue.
In Oakland, California, Laney College football coach John Beam has died. He was shot on campus.
This was a very targeted incident, and I will say that Coach Beam, although they did not have a close relationship, was open to helping everybody in our community. And this is not uncommon for him to have a relationship with someone that he would think needs help. In this case, I can just tell you that the individual that was arrested went specifically to the campus for a specific reason.
Lieutenant Gloria Beltran says tips quickly came into police.
Alameda County Sheriff's Deputy Torres observed someone who matched the suspect description at the San Leandro BART station.
The suspect was taken into custody and identified as 27-year-old Cedric Irving. OPD investigators interviewed the suspect, and he provided a statement regarding the shooting.
That person was arrested. Beam was featured in the Netflix series Last Chance U. Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee described him as a giant and a mentor. Piedmont Police Chief Fred Chavis is a longtime friend.
John was so much more than a coach. He was a father figure to thousands of not only men, but young women in our community. I know that I am not eloquent enough to put into words the indelible mark that Coach Beam has left on so many, not just in this region, but around the state and around the nation.
Audio from KGO. Beam was shot a day after a student was shot at Oakland's Skyline High School. That student is in stable condition. I'm Ed Donahue.
When we return on America in the Morning, 4 law enforcement officers shot in rural Kansas after these messages. In California, officials found a body they believe to be the missing 5-year-old girl swept away into the ocean by a large wave at a Monterey County beach on Friday. The girl's father jumped into the strong current after she was hit by an estimated 19-foot wave in an effort to save his daughter, but was also swept away. He was pulled from the ocean by an off-duty California park ranger who performed CPR but was unable to revive him. The man, identified as a 39-year-old from Calgary, Canada, the man's wife, who also jumped into the water to try to save him, was hospitalized with hypothermia after she made it back to shore. Police in Newark, New Jersey are trying to figure out why gunfire erupted on a street near a bus stop, leaving 2 people dead, including a 10-year-old boy. Sue Aller has that story.
Many unanswered questions remain after a heartbreaking scene in Newark, New Jersey. A 10-year-old boy and a 21-year-old woman were shot and killed in a mass shooting Saturday evening. 3 others, an 11-year-old boy, a 19-year-old man, and a 60-year-old man, were also hit by gunfire but survived. Police say all 3 wounded victims were listed in stable condition. The shooting erupted around 7 p.m. on Chancellor Avenue, where witnesses reported hearing numerous shots. By Sunday, at least 17 evidence markers were still visible on the ground. The victims' names have not yet been released. Residents in a nearby apartment building weren't allowed back inside for hours. Lamont Vaughn from the Newark Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery spoke to CBS 2 New York.
It's disturbing, and these family members are absolutely traumatized.
Vaughn also told Channel 7 Eyewitness News that violent crimes had been down this year, but more work needs to be done.
It's a multi-layered approach that has to happen, and it takes the community, it takes the government, it takes the business community, it takes the parents, the residents, it's everybody.
So far, no suspects have been named. The Essex County Sheriff's Office is offering a $10,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. In New Jersey, I'm Sue Aller.
Meanwhile, in Kansas, police have identified a 22-year-old as the man they believe shot 3 sheriff's deputies and a Kansas Highway Patrol officer after they were called to a home near Topeka for a domestic disturbance. Correspondent Donna Warder reports.
4 officers in Kansas are recovering after being shot Saturday during a domestic violence call. It happened just south of Topeka, and authorities say the 22-year-old suspect died of gunshot wounds at the scene. Carbondale, Kansas resident John Roberts, who lives about a mile up the road, says he was outside when it went down.
I was actually putting siding on the barn out there when the first officer went by. And then the second officer didn't have lights on, and both of them were running, I would say, well over 100 miles an hour as they went by. And kind of piqued my interest, but it's not unusual. And then the city of Topeka officers started going by. That's when I started to really get concerned.
Authorities say the suspect's 77-year-old grandfather was also wounded in the gunfire, but he and the 4 officers are expected to recover. I'm Donna Warder.
An unusually strong storm system called an atmospheric river doused Southern California over the weekend. The National Weather Service in Los Angeles reported heavy rainfall at rates as much as an inch an hour in coastal areas that led to flash flooding. The California Highway Patrol said a 71-year-old man died after his vehicle was swept off a flooded bridge in Northern California. Off the Southern California coast, a wooden boat believed to have been ferrying migrants toward the U.S. from Mexico capsized in stormy seas, leaving at least 4 people dead. The same storm system also dumped about a foot of snow in parts of the Sierra Nevada mountains. America in the Morning continues. Medical tech company Masimo wins a huge lawsuit against Apple for patent infringement of their blood oxygen sensor technology. Chuck Palm has that in today's Tech Report.
After years of filing suit against Apple, Masimo Medical Tech has won in federal court, claiming that the iPhone empire has swiped their blood oxygen sensing tech and infringed on their patent. After a multi-year brawl spanning multiple courts, trade tribunals, and even accusations of employee poaching, a jury sided with Masimo on Friday, handing them $634 million for willful infringement. Masimo has filed over 24 lawsuits against Apple over the last 6 years and actually won an import ban on the Series 9 and Ultra 2 watches. Apple removed the blood oxygen sensor part of the watch and snuck it back in August, and the tweak allowed it to clear customs. But now a fresh tribunal probe looms on those updates, and Apple is vowing an appeal, claiming that the single patent expired in 2022 and is specific to historic patient monitoring technology from decades ago. For more, follow me on X, @ChuckPalm.
Monday Sports is in with our Robert Workman.
NFL Week 11, the Broncos beat the Chiefs on Sunday 22-19 for their 8th straight win. The 5th field goal of the day for Will Lutz sailed through as time ran out.
We haven't kicked a ton of field goals this year, which is not always a bad thing. It's been hard to get into a rhythm this year just because we've kicked 1 or 2 field goals a game, and I've been waiting for a game like that.
Denver and New England share the league's best record at 9-2. In the NFC, the Rams won their 5th in a row, shading the Seahawks 21-19. LA turned 4 interceptions into 2 touchdowns and are now 8-2, as are the Eagles, who fought off the Lions 16-9 in prime time. Bills overpowered the Buccaneers 44-32. Josh Allen accounted for 6 touchdowns, 3 with his arm, 3 with his legs. Bryce Young threw for a franchise record 448 yards as the Panthers clipped the Falcons in overtime. The Dolphins nipped the Commanders in OT in Madrid. Texans topped the Titans, and the Bears squeaked past the Vikings, both on game-ending field goals. Steelers slammed the Bengals, but may have lost Aaron Rodgers, who sat out the second half with a left wrist injury. Mason Rudolph filled in nicely, and the defense had a pick-6 and returned a fumble for another score. Ravens turned back the Browns, spoiling the pro debut of Shedeur Sanders, who came on for Cleveland after Dylan Gabriel suffered a concussion early in the second half. Packers, Jaguars, and 49ers were winners. NBA, the Jazz outran the Bulls 150-147 in double overtime. Lowry Markkanen had 47 points. College hoops, number 1 Houston held off number 22 Auburn 73-72 in Birmingham. NHL, Penguins shut out the Predators 4-0 in Stockholm, Sweden. Sergei Murashov stopped 21 shots for his first NHL win and a split in the Global Series. That's Monday Sports.
And there's your look at sports. When we return on America in the Morning, celebrity A-lister fails an attempt to pass the bar exam. After these messages. This is America in the Morning. Nobody ever said passing the bar exam to become a lawyer would be easy, and that's a statement that reality star Kim Kardashian certainly agrees with after she recently took the test. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr has details.
On Sunday, Kim Kardashian gave insight into studying for the California bar exam.
I'm just so tired.
The reality TV star posted a video on Instagram about her experience.
I've been studying for 4 months straight, canceled all work. My kids are on a great vacation so I can focus.
She included an emotional breakdown.
Every time I feel like I'm a step ahead, something happens to try to stop me from doing this.
To be fair, most people face similar challenges like that every day, including those taking the bar exam without generational wealth and a media empire. On November 7th, Kardashian found out she did not pass that exam, though she insists she will try again. This is not her first time facing failure in law exams. 4 years ago, she failed the first-year law student exam, also known as the baby bar.
I did not pass the baby bar.
She talked about this situation on her TV series Keeping Up with the Kardashians in 2021.
This one actually is harder, I hear, than the official bar.
After 2 more attempts, Kardashian passed the baby bar. However, the larger, more extensive full bar exam is more daunting. Kardashian is not the first famous person to fail this type of exam. JFK Jr. famously did not pass the bar until his 3rd attempt. Cheer up, Kim. It's a while before you're in my cousin Vinny's territory.
3 times a charm? Not for me, it isn't. Nope. For me, 6 times was a charm.
I'm Kevin Carr.
A story that's simply unbelievable. Thousands of dairy delicacies vied for the honor of becoming the world's best cheese. But only one can claim they're better than just very Gouda. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports on what some describe as a smelly competition in Switzerland.
The first thing that hits you at the World Cheese Awards is the smell.
The strange thing is, after about an hour or so, you don't really notice it anymore, so that's a bit weird.
Christabel Kames is the Associate Managing Director for the Guild of Fine Foods, which organizes the World Cheese Awards.
So behind us we've got 5,244 cheeses. They're coming from 46 countries around the world, and they're currently being blind tasted by a team of 265 judges, also from 46 countries.
Scores of judges in yellow aprons circle long rectangular tables arranged in rows before digging in. They either slice triangle wedges out of hard cheeses and press them to their noses, or use spreaders to scoop up soft, gooey cheeses. It was a blind taste test for the 265 odd judges on hand.
A hint of fruit, lots of meaty notes, some ham stock, maybe even that sense of sort of bacon when you're like slightly hungover in the morning.
The winner, perhaps appropriately enough, was a special Swiss Gruyere. I'm Haya Panjwani.
America in the Morning for Monday, November 17th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.